Do we need to do that again?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yes, let's just do it again. I'll take a roll call to establish quorum. Commissioner Heck,
Here.
Commissioner DeJulian.
Yep.
Chair Van Race.
Here.
Vice Chair me.
Here.
Commissioner Ryan. Here. Commissioner Whedon,
Yes.
and let the record show that, Commissioner Blue is absent and, has resigned from the commission. We have a quorum.
First up, we have public comments on the agenda. We have one public comment on that tape, on June.
Okay. Should I shut the door here?
You can.
Walk.
Like that? Or
I've been having trouble listening to the recording, so maybe we can just talk a little louder, today.
Sure.
Crowded,
Yeah.
which is good.
Do you want to say?
Yeah.
Are you over there?
No,
Alexa.
we've been doing it over there, should we?
Not this better, no?
Okay.
It's good for me.
Yeah, I'm Jim Wing, I live on Middleton Road, and I'm here to request that a future agenda item to add the Environmental Commission developed shoulder improvement policy, which is SU 20 ABC. This was done about 10 years ago to improve the shoulders consistent. These are streets without curbs. And there's a section in the code, 11.2, which deals with shoulder improvement. Now, the specific thing I'd like to have is to have you add to the code the SU 20 ABC, so that it has some good visibility. It was developed a long time ago. Very few people know it exists, and it is a good document. It works. It satisfies kind of all the requirements, but the real key is for myself and for others, it provides pedestrian safety. And because it gives us a safe place to stand off of the travel lanes. And plus it does a reasonable job, not too good, of capturing stormwater. Depends on the water flow. So the importance is that it does not have a visibility, and people forget about it, and it's very hard. We do have a few projects which may come up. Specifically in the letter that I'd sent in, that was on University, on the corner of University and Edgewood, where basically I had to take the drawings to the developer and meet with the homeowner to get it installed. And it works. The homeowner is very pleased because it does a lot of things they like. So it does take adding to the code of the section which I mentioned. So I'd like to have it set a future agenda item to add it to the code, and therefore you would be sending your recommendation to council to go ahead and approve the addition of the code. And there are actually 4 different standards. SU 20 ABC is one, and then there's 2 others that have to do with things that are approved by the city, public works to put onto the curbs. So I look forward to a future agenda item, and we can discuss this issue and the benefits it provides at your leisure. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Now we're done with that. We go into meeting minutes. Not saying we have any adjustments to meeting minutes. You do, okay.
So there was an error, when you downloaded it, it had the older file. So I've already corrected, and if you look at the website, adding, Commissioner Dooley to the attendance list,
Okay.
is
I
that
still
your?
have one.
Okay. Sorry.
So I wasn't there.
Oh,
Unless I'm mistaken.
okay. Yeah.
So
Alright,
yeah, subject to that, I think.
I will make that.
I mean, I wasn't there, sorry, so I can't comment, but the reflex. But I know that I wasn't there. Out of 6 noses, it's one wrong note.
Means that.
Move to approve the minutes subject to those edits.
I second.
Okay.
Can I ask a procedural question? Am I able to abstain from this?
Yeah, you
Okay.
can. Okay, so. All in favor to approve the minutes with the edits? Just raise your hand, okay, and, anyone want to abstain? Okay, Commissioner Nee abstains, the minutes are approved.
Next up, we have received commission updates. Just a point of order, just to try to help people view online and see the segments, since we don't have somebody going in to edit when segments end. For now, I have these fabric squares or rectangles to mark when there's changes. In the future, we'll figure out a different system, but for now, the camera a new one will come in for each one. So anyway, next up, receive commission updates.
Okay. So a lot of you, many of you have already been through this many times, but for some of you, this will be a refresher on just the commission handbook. There aren't, I don't think any different updates this year, so. We should change that to 6, I think, 'cause it's been 6 for a long time, but no, it's comprised of 7 members and we meet 10 times per year with the exception of December and July. And that aligns with the city council off time as well. These are the powers and duties of the commission. I recommend just reading them, reviewing them, knowing them, and they guide the actions of the commission. The attendance and participation, so a majority of the members are required to be in person for a meeting to take place, so that means if someone's attending remotely, it's not considered in person. So just keep that in mind, when you attend meetings remotely. And commissioners must attend 75% of regularly scheduled meetings, and only two meetings per year can be attended remotely, and there's 2 different ways of doing that.
Yeah, the second bullet point is that I think there's a mistake. Must attend 70% of regular scheduled meeting mean that
You can
Has
miss
to be-
2.
you can miss 2, yeah, to add, you can miss 2.
Okay.
If not, it looks like the 70% of the meetings too, so you see, really, yeah, I think it should be changed.
Okay.
Big one blaze it.
Okay, and we can just do, questions at the end and comments. So we already did this, the election of chair and vice chair, that happens annually, at the October meeting, and no member of the commission may serve consecutive terms. At the council joint meeting, we provide our work plan and, an annual report to the council that they review through, the agenda packet. And then our joint meeting will be on February 13th, or the day before, the second Tuesday of February. Which is the 10th, actually.
Is that, that's good, right before the council meeting, right?
Yeah,
What time more or less?
I
it's gonna be-
believe that happens at 5, but I will send a
Yeah, some
calendar
of it.
invite to confirm. And then the work plans is kind of just the layout of how we do the work plan and how all the commissions, format their work plan. Ad hoc subcommittees, so this has changed quite a lot throughout the years I've been here, refining it, so it must be ad hoc, cannot be a standing committee, the commission can appoint members, but the ad hoc subcommittee must consist of less of a majority of the body to work on specific tasks. Should be focused on one specific topic and shouldn't last more than a year, so not be standing. Must comply with all aspects of the Brown Act, but these meetings aren't required to be posted, or have staff support. Meaning you can meet whenever you need to work on a project. The topics must be specific and have a specific time frame. And again, I think this is just hitting home on can't be a standing committee. The working group or the ad hoc subcommittee needs to report all their findings out to the full commission. And commissioners can only serve on one subcommittee or ad hoc subcommittee at a time. This is a lot of the legal talk on this. So our current ad hoc subcommittees are building electrification and no longer urban forest. So it's just building, or I guess it's just, yeah, it's the working group, yeah. So we don't have any subcommittees because we have been doing working groups, so. But the working groups are building electrification, and now urban forest is individual work, and we have the other topics listed in the notes. So there's a slight difference in the working pairs. It doesn't require formal approval. The duration and the scope, it's limited in the duration and scope, which I guess, you know, we've kind of not been adhering to that, but the point is to get work moving and moving tasks forward, even if it's not an official ad hoc subcommittee. So working groups can be 1 or 2 commissioners. And then, yeah, the commission may take action on the report or simply receive it. And again, yeah, this is just designed to be more flexible and get work moving forward. And there's no limit to the amount of working pairs a commission can participate in, as long as the topics don't overlap.
Mhm.
So this is just kind of a summary of the difference. One's formal, one's informal, one's focused on a project, one's a component of a project. And yeah, I think this is a little different than what we've been doing, but I think we're fine in the way we've been doing our working pairs. Commissioner liaison, the commissioner liaison is to act as a connection to another group, kind of like Chair Van Hoos has been doing on the electrification project, and connecting with a local group and then bringing that information back to the commission. Council liaison, so we.
Oh, one just question, when the last bullet point says it can be member of the public, so can also be a non-commissioner? Okay.
Yeah, it
Okay.
also can be.
Is any way commissioner, even if it's a member of the public, okay. Thank you.
So the council liaison is the council member who is assigned to our commission. Every year that changes. This year it has yet to be assigned. And we should know more at the next council meeting. And you should feel free to go to the council liaison and talk to them and ask them any questions or concerns that come up with the commission. So conflict of interest, basically, we don't want any of the commissioners engaging in any activities that may be perceived as a conflict of interest. So I recommend reviewing this and reading it. It's in detail in the handbook. And if there is a perceived conflict of interest, just notify me or the commission liaison or the council liaison or the city clerk's office. And that's about it. Any question? Everybody's question?
You go to the slide of, whether it's a project versus part of a project, in terms of the ad hoc and subcommittee.
Yes.
Would it be fair to say then that working pair should be, it's part of a project that needs something practical versus an ad hoc would be more higher level planning type of thinking, or is it unfair to try to assign assign that meaning to it?
I think that it's a lot of gray area.
Okay.
And I think the intent of the working pair is to work on something quick and then move on.
Yeah.
Where an ad hoc subcommittee is more focused on, like it says, a project, a bigger project, so. But yeah, that is the intent, but I think we've got direction to do things in a working pair, so. That's what we're
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah, it's the gray area of how big the project is, the process then allows for the components to be done bigger. It's just the thing. Having more clarity than that would be great. I have a question. You scroll down, these slides. Oh, for the member of the public, would we need them to elect them to be a liaison?
Sorry,
One more slide back, I think.
Like,
It was,
yeah,
commission liaisons, yeah, can be member of the public. Would we need them to be in attendance to select somebody as a member of the public that isn't part of the commission, or is there any protocol for that established?
I don't think so. I think that would be a best practice maybe, but I think if one of the commissioners were to identify someone and talk about it with the commission and it be approved, I think that would be fine.
I don't know if this is the right time to bring it up, but given we are at 6, I would think it would be beneficial to make a formal request that we fill that seat as opposed to wait until September. And I know there's a process, so even that'll take time, but even if we can short circuit that a couple months, it helps.
I can definitely relay that. Yes, you can discuss after. So you want to make a formal request to see if we can get a commissioner sooner?
yeah, I agree with that first. Gonna be almost 1 year, so it's a long time.
It would be 2 years.
Oh, yeah, because already last year you had the sugar certain, yeah. I remember how happy you were when I joined last month. So why?
Any other questions? Yeah. Discussion.
Public comment, if anyone would like to provide.
I don't see any public comment on this one. So, yeah, so.
Couple of things, just to point out, maybe to discuss. On the ad hoc subcommittee, which may not be relevant right now, guidance I received from, Councilmember Gregor was that at any point in time, there cannot be people on the subcommittee. So for example, if there's an aspect of, say, the urban forest master plan that Don and I had worked on, Carl had worked on in the past, big issues, and then there's a different aspect that was being worked on, and the new subcommittee comes on, and all those 3 members are still on the commission, then those are the only 3 members that can be part of the subcommittee. And the reason she said was that the other 2 members, there's a 4th member, somebody else that maybe the next subcommittee is Tom, Carl and I, then we already know what Don thinks on the subject. And so we would be potentially could be, you know, representing more than
50%.
more than 50% of the commission, just that was something, may or may not be relevant for us this year. And then the other thing was, question was on the liaisons. You recall last year, we proposed having liaisons to other commissions that may have overlapping, and that is mentioned there. But we were very strongly urged not to leave with other commissions. So I don't know if you have more guidance on that.
And you spoke directly with them.
Yeah, we gave Ann with Councilman Labor. They were worried about. I don't know. So you know, I was gonna be liaison to a couple other commissions and I stopped doing that.
Yeah, I have not heard anything else.
Okay.
Is that the one update? Right now, it's-
Yeah,
for this-
that is the main update.
Do you need a motion on Tom's suggestion? Or,
No,
Next
we'll
discussion,
relay that request.
Right.
next discussion I'm gonna have in the three transfer station, let's see about the commission combined.
I don't have a formal update, the holidays, whatever, didn't have a chance to have a lot of meetings with Paul. Just an update on the survey that Chloe, was running, there's actually, 515 responses now. And, just a couple highlights from it was that, a majority of the people said they would use the shuttle to go downtown. The community center, high school. And then if we combine the Caltrain stations, so quickly, and that's, so it was, a lot of people wanted to use the shuttle to go to downtown slash, and then there was very little interest, relatively less interest for elementary school as expected, more interest, most interest for high school, medium for middle school. So just, couple of those thoughts, and then from the responses of where people lived, a larger percentage of the people, less than half, but 45% of people lived in kind of the north, Los Altos, Los Altos, San Antonio area, and then there were people a little bit less from the south, quite a bit of interest from Mountain View. They had like almost no interest from Los Altos. And I'm meeting with Rio Lowe, who is the transportation director for Palo Alto next week. And she used to be the transportation director for Mountain View, so she would be a great resource. Hopefully with that, in a summary from the survey, I'll be able to put together just final report on what, whatever to suggest to council.
Clarify question, so is she trying to reach a certain number for the survey to close it, or just?
It's an open survey that has a link that people.
Yeah.
Have access to. It hasn't been promoted and I doubt since. A while ago, the election, she set up a stall, farmers market ones. So, yeah. I mean, that's more responsive than we've had in past commission surveys that we paid for. Again, we don't know how formally.
when you said there was relatively speaking more interest from North Los Altos residents, is that based on responses? to the
It's
survey?
it's just responses were from that area, so again, that may not, think it's not a very.
Yeah.
So since especially since some of the. Polling was done, at the farmer's market, maybe there is a percentage of people from the area. Yeah.
Got it, okay.
and I don't know. Circulated. Like word of mouth.
Right,
told
right.
people. Mhm. Not to say that other people are not. That's true.
Any public comment from the public, discussion if we. There's any? No?
I just have one kind of comment on, so Roshan and I will go over kind of all of this information and then I will need to look at it all and then, kind of see what it is that we're looking at and then go back to Rashina and then, go to council. So that's kind of what we'll be doing, how we'll be doing things going forward. So, that I have time to review and kind of understand, what is being proposed. So that would happen before, so you're gonna come back, you wanna come back to the commission, right, to report out? So that would happen before, coming to the commission, to kind of give you an update. So we're gonna be doing that like going forward.
Okay, so anytime a working group or working pair or ad hoc committee presents here to get a vote or agreement on something, you review it first and
Mhm.
go back and forth and,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay. One item. Next item, building electrification updates.
When you
Is
want,
this from the working pair? Or-
Yeah, yes, if you don't have anything, that's fine, but.
I mean, I can give an update
Yeah.
on where we are.
Yeah. quick one.
So, as you know, I think previously we discussed this, FAR for area ratio bonus of 2 to 3%, to incentivize full electrification. So we got into a bit of a back and forth with city staff on this. We took a look at it. They came back to us with a list of, let's call them reservations, things that they see as complications for implementing such an initiative. Tom and I met on this over the holiday period. We did send a response today via Tanya, back to staff, so hoping to get, an engagement going there. So far, because I think last time we discussed this, we also spoke about maybe presenting it to the planning commission, which was guidance that we got originally from Nick. So we have not got time with the planning commission, to bring this in front of them so far. So I think the next step is really to discuss this more robustly with city staff and then come back to the commission for an update. Anything you want to add, Tom?
I think that's right, I think, yeah, that was well put.
Yeah, and just to add to that, cause, so I'll be looking at all that information, that was sent over to me today and then, yeah, we're gonna go from there. And if you don't have any other updates, I can provide some other updates on building electrification. So we're still going forward with the rebates, which are great. We're working on the marketing campaign, so that we can get that out to everyone in the city, and people can, once the March launch date comes, people can start, or have already, known about it, and so, we'll start marketing that, and, that's still the $1,000 for changing a gas water heater to a heat pump water heater and a gas furnace to heat pump HVAC. And that's still being run by SVC. So all of that is still the same. We took that to council. Oh, I don't think we met actually after, that was in December. Yes, so we took that to council. We didn't talk about this, right? Okay. We took that to council, in December and they approved that. They were very appreciative of all of your hard work on the working group. And, they're very excited about the rebate. So the rebates were approved. So we're moving forward with that and they will launch in March. So that is great and exciting. And the speaker series is still, going as well. The second of the three, is happening on February 21st. We're working on the flyer right now to get out, but that will be an induction cooktop workshop. And there will be a live demo as well, and that will be here at the community center. So we're gonna be putting that through all our marketing, social media channels as well, and working with local groups to get the information out. I just wanted to let you know that that's currently being planned and pretty much planned. We just need to get the marketing materials out. So those things are helping us get to our goal and pretty exciting good things. So we're hitting the education piece, we're hitting the incentive piece.
One question, the speaker series is organized directly by the city, with the support of some other organization, or how, great, that's it.
Yes, but in this particular project, yeah, we're working with Aptera
There is gonna be, okay, the partner.
yeah.
Tanya, maybe you could fill in where it stands with the third one. There was 3 planned, right? We had one,
Mhm.
and then the second one is the induction cooktop, and the third one is.
TBD.
Oh.
Yes, I believe that will be in March. The
Mhm.
topic is, I have to check back, but I think it's, we had some, the working group had some ideas, but we have like a menu of options that we picked. And so TBD, yeah.
And in terms of publicizing those kind of how we do it, because there is somehow the city doing it, we also use the Green Town Los Altos, whatever, we can.
Yeah, it's through the city channels and the city social media. We have a city newsletter. And we're gonna be reaching out to Greentown this time to help us market it,
Okay,
market this next one. We try to go through, when we get the chance, the MTWS newsletter too, we can list things in there, so that goes out to all the residents. It just depends on timing and whether they have space.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of.
Altos prior, this kind of things, so.
Yeah, we could do an ad in the Los Altos Crier as well, yeah, yes.
On the rebates, did the council editorialize at all about support for future rebates as well? Or maybe somebody attended that meeting, I did not.
Yeah, they definitely, I think that's one of the work plan items that we have in there, is that we will, I think, continue to provide council with a menu of kind of rebates, because they want to continue doing that and expand to commercial and other types of rebates, which is what I think we want to work on this year.
Jenna, I don't know if this is the right time for the question, but Rosina was also there. We were at the Rotary Club environmental thing, so I think Rotary Club is becoming more and more interested in environmental issues. That is important, and so because of let's say the fact that the Rotary Club is so important in our town to the member of the council of Rotary. Then we maybe in the future think to reach also them out together with Greentown Los Altos to publicize and push, so having kind of network of other organizations help us.
Yes, yeah.
Probably, yeah, I think it would be worth because of the clue that they have in this industry.
Yeah, please share with me the organizations that you know, or if you have a contact that we can.
Okay, yeah.
Share,
Perfect.
help us spread the word on the
Yeah,
rebates.
I'll at least have 2 organizations that would be happy to do it. And also my church great team, probably happy to do it.
Okay, great.
So whatever way we can publicize it, whatever.
What was the attendance for the first one? How was the attendance for the first one?
For the
Speakers?
Oh, yeah, we had, pretty good. There was about 30 people, which is pretty good for that kind of event.
We were queuing outside.
It was a webinar,
Oh, okay.
so it was pretty good.
This sort of already did discussion, I think, but if it's any last discussion on questions. Yeah. Okay, so then we can move to the next item, which is review and approve 2026 environmental commission work plan.
Yes.
Pull that up on for everybody. So what you see in the packet is largely a simplified version based on direction from city staff of what we reviewed last time. So subject wise, I don't believe anything changed, just some of the framing of them. But otherwise, it's fairly consistent. A couple things you can call out. Let's see.
Sorry,
Let's see, you getting enough?
look, I'm being close.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a column that was says hard or easy or something like that. This column disappeared.
Yes, yeah, and so I think we can have a more built out version for our own reference
Yeah.
to help us organize, but this is trying to land on that council facing version.
Okay, it makes sense. Okay, for us, knowing what is more difficult and difficult is important, but the council,
Yeah, yeah.
was certainly interested to that. Okay, just the first. Thank you.
So yeah, cap timeline update got moved to the top here. This that being one that we are pretty definitive on when we want to finish that, and then electrification basically just become these two lists of priorities: electrification incentives and energy saving incentives. The framing was changed a little bit for electrification event, just to say we were tabling because we're not in charge of that anymore. Workforce ecosystem health project, we got some direction from the city to try to have this be more project oriented and less high level at this time, which might prove difficult for the original goals of this item, but originally picking up, and now I will work through some suggestions on what those exact projects will be before next meeting. And then Arctic turf is put under this reduced flood risk, but we know there's many other concerns regarding that. As noted here, delivery of Sunnyvale guidance is partially guiding this. Tanya, is there any other city input on our timing on this? You can share.
It's, yeah, we're still gonna stick with waiting for the Sunnyvale guidance to come out.
Was there anything on how the city is currently approaching it? Like approaching,
I think right now there aren't any projects that are going to or planning to use artificial turf, so I think all of that's on hold. So yeah, I think we're good in that perspective sense.
so would you call it a soft moratorium at this time?
It is, yeah. My question is moratorium from a city perspective or in general about private cooking term. That's my. When I talk about moratorium, it means what do
From
we
the
mean?
city project perspective,
Okay, city project
Yeah.
perspective.
there's nothing planned that has artificial turf that I know.
What happened to the dog park?
What happened? I
Yeah.
think
Did they just put it on hold?
Yeah.
Or we figure this out now? Okay.
Well, I've gone through each one. Any questions from the commission first?
I have a question on the last one.
Okay.
So just to be clear, we wouldn't start with that until Sunnyvale guidance has been published or publicized, and then at that point, the commission will get engaged and whatever, have individual research or working pair, go away and look at that.
So the idea is that just to understand, we're not gonna look at the recommendation on how they get to the recommendation or the consideration, because maybe that, I mean, something that applies to San Miguel doesn't apply to us, but for us, it's interesting to understand what they consider to get to the decision, so that we learn out of that we can
Yes,
apply.
yeah.
That's the approach, okay?
Yes, yeah, exactly. Since they're going through all of that and putting the funds and then, I think that's the direction that, they wanna go in and I think, Palo Alto is also going through their study.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just taking that information and synthesizing that, is the approach that they want to take.
But we could still do individual research on this item in the meantime, right? I mean, there's nothing preventing us from trying to understand the issue better before.
I mean, you can, but
Yeah.
I don't think it's something we would talk about at the commission meetings.
Okay. At the previous meeting, I brought up trying to have someone come and speak about natural grass and that possibility. I still, I'm hoping to do that, just now have names, so, but that is still in play. That's still fair game to try to have someone come in to,
Yeah, I
Widen
think
our
that's what the
perspective ahead of
commission
time.
wants to have a special presentation on that.
Okay.
If that's how, yeah.
Question on reducing flood risk, so that's the title of that, goal, but the only approved work topic is AstroTurf's contribution to that, or another use of AstroTurf, so there's no other item reducing flood risk that we can address this year, or we will address this year, is that how I read that?
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
Question, how set in stone is this in terms of back and forthing with staff?
What do you,
So is this work plan pretty much set, or is it if we have?
no, we can still make adjustments, right?
Okay.
yeah, we can still make adjustments, but we won't have time to approve it at the commission level, so it has to be done today. I think the direction that was given last time by the commission was that, we would work to refine those goals and bring back what we refined.
And when is, our joint meeting with council?
The second Tuesday of February.
Day
Okay.
before our next meeting. February 10th, and we meet as a commission, yeah, February 11th.
How is gonna work? I mean, who's gonna present that to the council? You?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, Carl and
Christina would share
Charles.
the achievements from last year, I believe. Yeah. Yeah.
There is a possibility that I might be traveling.
Oh, okay.
With those dates, not confirmed yet, so. please.
Maybe I am.
Vice Chair.
So Carl, you're gonna be the one.
So let's, I think it's there, let's,
Public comment.
continue for clarifying questions and public comment.
Clarifying question, description for promote electrification through incentives. So the project description is prioritize a list of traditional electrification incentives and programs to assist in determining future municipal buildings. I'm wondering if that, is that one actually scoped in municipal buildings or?
Municipal offering.
Offering.
So this is just
sorry.
saying, like, the commission will help identify and prioritize a menu of options to present to council on future incentives.
Yeah.
Which is what they were asking for at the meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, my brain saw municipal and thought buildings came after it.
I mean, that's what we do say that a lot, so I don't blame.
Another thing that my question is stories when you say support public engagement at events, and the project is table at the electrification event. Is that the only thing really in that case, or is more?
That is what's been identified so far.
Okay, that's what the
But-
commission identify as an opportunity. Yes.
That, yes.
Okay,
Well, it might help to have a little context, so we used to do an electrification fair,
yeah, I know.
and Carl or ran it,
Yeah.
or did a lot of the work.
Not just talk a little.
Well,
Yeah.
or helped organize it.
Yeah.
But now, Greentown has taken over it, so now we're just limited to a table. So theoretically, it's just scoping that way down, given we offloaded that to Greendale.
Okay,
And yeah, just to add to further clarification, if the commission wants to table other events, if that's something we can do,
okay,
but yeah, that's.
but also beyond table, we can also have other thing too. What if we have an idea to support public engagement on the event, can definitely do it. And we're not limited to that. This is the only idea that we have now, but that's fine.
Mhm.
But we can, if we have idea or opportunity, we can always try to.
You could add a sentence to there, just saying, and outreach at other events, if, just
Yeah,
so
sure.
we're clear that it's not just.
Yeah, that's really kind of, looks like that we're limited to that, I don't think, it would be opportunity, I'd rather have the opportunity.
Yeah, and it's, as long as it's within the scope of like, we're going to the event, we're tabling, it's not like we're planning another. whole
No,
event.
I see that, absolutely, yeah. Using event for us to promote.
Yeah, and
That's
please
what I'm
let me
saying.
know if you think how we can word this and refine this, so I can note it right now.
Are we gonna assign working groups tonight, or are we gonna start assigning?
We don't have to, but if we want that listed on here, we would want to do that, yeah, but we don't have to do it tonight. I did put it on the agenda though.
Oh, you did put on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
we have-
Okay.
I like,
Let's say.
Moving
We're
on.
not
Yeah.
going to wait for council to approve the work plan, start working on it.
Yeah, we can still assign the groups, doesn't mean we'd have to start working on it.
one other question is, I'm reading on the sequestered carbon, blah, blah, commissioner to provide support as needed to ecosystem health research. That means that the city is working with someone to do a study here. I'm not clear what does it mean. To ecosystem health
That's the
research.
title.
Is
Of
it
the
title?
project is the instead of it just being an urban forest master plan, the title.
Okay,
that the
it's a
commission
title,
came up with
okay,
is
there's
the Urban
no,
Forest Ecosystem Health Plan Project, yeah.
okay,
It's not a formal thing, actual thing.
okay, I thought it was kind of ecosystem, and is a company that is helping us to figure it out, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
There is a very good possibility that when we get to implementation, there is gonna be another party.
Yeah,
that's
but
involved.
at the moment, that's just
Yeah.
the title of the thing, yeah, okay,
Okay,
thank you.
any other clarifying questions from the commission? I see none, okay, then we can just go to public comment on this item, first up, we have Laura.
Thank you and good evening all. My name is Laura Fay. I'm a 30-year Los Altos resident. And I was very encouraged by the City Council's request to the Environmental Commission to research and develop recommendations around the topic of artificial turf in the city's 2026 work plan. I'm assuming there'd be an ad hoc committee formed to look at this. And with that assumption, I have 5 general recommendations for such a committee. I encourage the committee to consider the topic more broadly to be synthetic surfaces versus simply artificial turf. The broader definition includes surfaces like pour-in-place rubber, also known as PIP, which have very similar health and environmental characteristics as artificial turf. The second thing I encourage the committee to look at, again, assuming there is an ad hoc committee and you're actually going to be looking at this, is to consider crafting a city ordinance versus a policy or just a recommendation. And there are differences in those, obviously. The third item, when looking at the matter, to look a bit more broadly than just Sunnyvale and Palo Alto. We've mentioned Sunnyvale and Palo Alto here. There are many other cities in the Bay Area and beyond that have the issue of synthetic surfaces in public and private property in ways that have addressed these in ways that align with what I'll call the more closely aligned to perhaps the values and the size of Los Altos. Sunnyvale and Palo Alto are much bigger cities with arguably some different characteristics, some similarities, but some different characteristics. The fourth item, I would encourage them to reject influences from the all-powerful synthetic turf industry. That's all I'll say there. And then lastly, to consider recommending a moratorium on synthetic turf installations until the formal recommendations are defined. Particularly as I've been listening to the conversation earlier, it looks like, sort of it's all kind of TBD. So it's unclear when this will actually fall formally on the 2026 plan agenda. So thanks for listening.
Good evening. I've spoken to this commission in the past, but I will reintroduce myself. I'm Andrea Wald, and I co-founded Community for Natural Place Surfaces. Our mission is to advocate for safe natural place surfaces and is aligned to the Environmental Commission's goal of how to positively affect the natural and built environment in the city. I'm encouraged by the City Council's direction to this commission to research and develop recommendations to staff on artificial turf, and as Laura mentioned, more broadly, any unnatural ground coverings. First, a quick note, it's unclear why artificial turf is considered under the category that says reduce flood risk. Maybe this is a typo. It'd be nice to be clarified exactly why that is mentioned as flood risk. My request this evening is mainly twofold. One, not wait until the Sunnyvale study is completed before forming the ad hoc committee to study this. The timeline for the Sunnyvale study isn't really known. And as Laura mentioned, Sunnyvale has many different characteristics than Los Altos, and there's much goal and scope setting work to be done that has no dependency with Sunnyvale at all. Secondly, consider including well-informed members of the public and respective local organizations in that ad hoc committee, possibly Greentown or Rotary Club's Climate Action Commission. They're well aware of all the pros and cons for this type of ground covering. This will help to accelerate progress by assisting in gathering environmental and health scientific research, maintenance, and water use reports, along with decision rationale and best practices from municipalities with profiles similar to Los Altos. And one more thing, I'm really hard of hearing, and I believe I heard some discussions on how the Palo Alto study and the Sunnyvale study, what they mean, especially for Los Altos. I have firsthand knowledge of both of those study issues, very detailed information on how they came about, a lot of flaws in the Palo Alto one that the city council unfortunately did not pay attention to. And I would be glad to share any of that information at any time anyone has any questions, as opposed to questioning each other. What did this mean? What did they say? I was at the meetings. I was instrumental in getting Palo Alto to delay. I was instrumental in getting Sunnyvale to do the study issue. I was on a group of people that proposed it and got it passed through. So if you have any questions, I would be more than happy to answer it, so you're not just making up things or hearing from people that are not in the know. So thank you.
Thank you. On to the discussion on this item.
I just think this is really, really limited as a broad observation. And, for example, limiting the reduced flood risk to just this one item. As some member of the public pointed out, I think it's, if we're looking at reducing flood risk and being faithful to working on the cap rather than only on specific things that council tells us to do it, only that at that time, then we should be looking at other things in addition while we go to look at flood risk. For sequestering, for sequestering carbon, I feel like as for the second part of, which is kind of like supporting that green community and sequestering if our only role is providing advisory support when needed to a yet unknown, I'm assuming this has not been, do we have a consultant yet?
No.
That means we do nothing until that consultant comes on board. I feel like we need to, if we wait for that, whatever, and that still in itself feels very limited. Our role is to be a representative of the public, so we need to be going out, talking to other, doing more than just being there as a on-call consultant to the consultant. So I feel there should be more on that. Maybe we need to also add in things like we need to add in public engagement and information in there as one of the things, understand what the city is thinking of on the subject, how we can get everyone else supporting this while we're waiting for the grand project plan to happen. I feel like, again, that's very limited in what would impact. In the building electrification, I really like that we're taking on energy conservation. But the other two projects are just prioritizing a list for incentives is something that we worked extensively on last year. So that feels like not a whole lot more unless there is something brand new coming up, and tabling of the electrification fair feels like, again, very minimal type of thing. So I understand the need for staff and council to see specific projects. I really feel like the way it's written up is really, what are the words that are coming right now? Oh, no, is a little bit disrespectful of the fact that we are here donating our time representing the city and hoping to move the city towards our climate action goals. I feel like this is really okay. Line up and do just this, or line up and do just this and just this. So that's kind of my overall issue with this. Yeah. And I guess the other thing is we're not touching at all some of the other major items that are that impact, that are on the climate action plan. In terms of impact, we're not touching transportation at all. We're not touching several other things that would, we're not working with the city. Maybe that's already something that the city's taken on in terms of municipal buildings, the second energy used by the city. So there's a lot of things that we're not touching at all, and that's okay, but this is 2026. We have 10 years for our goal, including this year. And maybe we need to review the cap as in, do we review it as in, do we really stand by this cap? Still. So I don't see how the city would move forward and be able to meet the cap goals with the limited work we do. Of course, our role is advisory to the council, but I feel like there's very specific things that we've been told to kind of, or I don't know if we've been told, we're kind of pigeoning ourselves in.
Thank you.
And
go for it.
so I fully agree with Ashina, 100%. The way I interpret that is that there are specific outcomes that the council want us to come with, but it doesn't limit us to do what you are saying. As a commission, that's my interpretation. I mean, as far as we deliver those things that city council wanted us to deliver, then I think it's up to us as a commission to basically to exactly what you are saying, through the revision of the cap, to look for what the next 10 years will look like, and then prioritize our work accordingly. I think no one prevent us to do much more than what is. I think also we need to understand that we're limited time, limited resources, but we can come out with a plan that says this a thing that we additionally that we can do. I don't think that council will dig in that. Now we may have problems with the staff because obviously if we go back and ask the staff for help and it's not there, well, probably that. I don't know how it works, but probably we can have some issue there, but
Neither do we.
yeah, and but yeah, I think we need to try at least. I don't think that we should feel limited by that. But for sure, the council wants us to deliver on those times. That's fine with me. But I fully agree with you. I'm willing to do more than that. We need to decide among us what are the areas that are looking at the cap where we can really make a difference and that we can work on.
So just maybe, and
Yeah, go ahead.
just
No.
to answer some of the things based on my experience as chair and over,
Yeah.
so a lot of things are tied, we are really expected to focus on the work plan.
Yeah.
And and that's kind of what we ask council for permission to work on. If we take on something else that's not on the work plan, I don't know what the process is for that. The second thing is that the budget we request for this work is tied to the work plan. So if we identify items that require funds and specific projects, specific items, and then we request them from council based on the work plan. So like last year's work plan, we had funds for the analysis for the open forest master plan. And we got funds for incentives, but it was by putting in the work plan as a specific request. I don't know if guidance has changed, but that was my understanding. So we're supposed to make the work plan kind of cover what we intend to do. And because otherwise we're intending to do things under, kind of without guidance from council. So if we don't put it on the work plan, it's best for us to not plan on working on it. If something comes up in the middle of the year that's new and council guides us, that's different. But if we're planning on doing anything as a group, then it should be in the work plan. That's my understanding.
Yes, I can jump in and comment on a couple of things. So just like with any job, we need a work plan that we can commit resources to every year and commit a plan to, and that we're looking at holistically. So I think every commission has a work plan, an annual work plan that they come up with, and I don't think the council can treat one commission differently than the other. So every commission is doing this, every commission comes up with their projects for the year, and that's kind of how it goes. I think that the city needs to understand what the work is to be able to budget for it. So this is what part of the budget and work plan process. As for things coming up during the year, I think it's just important to understand what staff has capacity for, because all these projects need to go through staff, they need to go through me, and then I need to assess them with the team and then, see what's feasible with the other divisions and departments. But if we decide like during the year that, we've explored something and we don't feel like that we can move that forward or anything, we can definitely pivot and come up with something new to replace it. But we can't be going in a million different directions and not kind of getting anywhere and having any impact. And so I think the direction that we're trying to go now is that we're doing impactful projects. So with the urban forest master plan, it's not that we're not doing it anymore. It's that instead of moving from thinking, we want to move to doing. So we're trying, I think Carl touched on it a little bit, but to go a little deeper, is that we want to identify specific projects that we can start working on, and have that menu of options to provide to council so that they can say, this is what what we wanna do, this is the direction that we wanna go, so that we're not like spinning our wheels. And that we have more direction. So I think the goal for our commission is to kind of get more direction, because we haven't got a lot of that in the past few years, so that we can actually we can actually move forward and, complete the projects, and just like with the incentives and speaker series. They're small parts of the bigger picture, so these goals, like, it's one action that contributes to the larger goal that comes from the CAP.
So, no, I agree. My point is that in order for us, I mean, for next year, be ready for I think now is we are late to really change the work plan, as far as I understood. We can do some small thing, but not big thing. But if we want to have a work plan, maybe that we are more happy with. I think it's a two-way dialogue with the council. I think that council need from the commission ideas that are feasible, that are something that we can focus on, that we have the resources to make it happen. So that we get at the time, I don't know, summer, which you can be dialogue to help the work the council to give us the priority that we believe are important. And it's also obvious to wait that's something, but we need to practically work this year in order to have a work plan and be more satisfied with next year. So I agree with you, but that's what I'm thinking is happening right now, that is late to change it significantly, but we can work on
fine
that.
tune this, right? Like we want to change the wording on something.
Yeah, we can.
Well, what I was gonna suggest is, well, on that front, maybe we can say, hey, this is generally okay, but we want to enhance it and give Carl some points, and just say, at the end of the day, we approve whatever Carl does, whatever changes Carl, and so we give approval for him to make changes within some range. I mean, we trust him, he's gonna do the right thing. Then a couple more points, aside just that practicality, because we're kind of at the last minute, we need to figure this out. We were expecting to get explicit guidance from council, but they never give explicit guidance. It's 20 minutes discussion. You get 5 different pieces of guidance from, or 6. So I would argue, given that, they never really say this is at least from what I've seen, they never say this is the work plan that you've been approved, go do it. It's kind of like, oh, that looks okay, or maybe it doesn't, but no actionable guidance. I
So
would argue.
technically, Tom, at the end of, they missed doing it last time, and that was, communicated after the fact, that at the end of the presentation, for the other commissions, that's what they did. We
So
approved
just
the
not,
plan.
just not the environmental.
I mean, I think they missed it, they were the first one to present or something like that, so.
So, okay,
It's something that we get approval from council to.
but I guess what I'm saying is,
Commentary, right? So they also say,
Yeah, we have to
consider
get
this,
into it.
consider this
Yeah.
as your bearing power. Show the website.
so I would argue that because of that, I would add a little more action verbiage to each of these items and early. So you could say, like, just for example, Carl, instead of saying provide advisory support, you could say do upfront work, so we can start working now and start, make it very broad. So we can start doing something now instead of just doing advisory work when the consultant comes. I think it's a word choice, and you can make it pretty general, but also action oriented, so we can start doing stuff now, unless they just cut out that line item. And then my last question is on the update of the CAP. Like, that's a big job, and they want it done in Q1 2000. So I guess I'm just wondering, because, and that could easily, no, am I reading that wrong?
I think.
Or is that when it
was-
started?
That was reflected in a previous vote that we had, that we were gonna punt it to
Yeah.
this part of this year. And I think that note isn't true just because of the timing, like, we can't expect to have that by then. But it's something that we could start working on at the next meeting to.
Yeah, so my 2 cents is that we would assign a working group to start working on that immediately, and Right, and then we need to decide when we think we could complete that. To have to council.
Okay, I might be
It's a
getting into
big
the
job.
weeds. I might be getting into the weeds, but is that like a line item by line item assessment of the cap and what should be done on each of those major categories? So like a full review of the cap.
I think it would be reviewing the cap and then identifying like a top 3 to 5 items that the commission would prioritize and work on.
Is that not like the point of the work plan? Do that, like,
Yeah,
I mean, this reads as kind of,
I think like an example, like Rashina was saying, like there's not transportation in here, there's not. I think it could be like a pre-step to the work plan, so that when we go build our work plan, we know exactly like what we want to pull from, because someone has done a deep dive into all of the actions, and we for sure know what we want to prioritize.
But we also had your actual edits that we suggest that the council recognize in terms of where the thinking has changed from this commission to
Yeah, that's.
when this was
that's part
established.
of it.
Yeah. So there is a full review, but that not necessarily has to happen in this meeting. That's something that the subcommittee or anybody independently could do ahead of time, and then we just come to this discussing the actual edits and priorities.
Yeah, I think we want to focus this year on looking at the cap, reassessing that, deciding what we feel is the most important, and letting council know that's what we're gonna focus on.
Yeah, but it's not only focus on, I think there are some dates or something that clearly now are gone.
Yes.
So that we need to simply, that's not realistic, it's already gone, and so we need to change. So the idea is also that we're gonna say, well, that's the next realistic even date is gonna be that one. That also could be one input that we should do. That's also, it's not only what we work on, but that the document, if someone read the document right now, is clearly updated. It's very directionally, it makes sense, but it's not a plan that you can work on because all the data and so on, the reality has changed. So my idea is that what comes out should be something that it can really be re-engaging because it makes sense. It makes sense in terms of data and strategy. And now to choose the 3-4 things that the commission will work on. That's my understanding of this point. Is that correct? It's quite a lot of work to do that.
yeah, I mean, I have a not concern, but I guess a question on, because we don't have any updated data, right, to base that review on. And so there's no new data.
We're gonna have, yeah, we would
We
have
have
to.
some. We have some.
What is it?
Well, for instance, we know exactly where we are in terms of decarbonization, what are the new data. Yeah, we should be able to have those. No?
So, just again, for maybe references, I think Carl, you mentioned that this is something we had last year, and then some point when we realized that we're not gonna have a 7th person, we may not be able to get to this, given everything else. We agreed to push it out. What the goal was for that item was just to go through it and suggest updates as in minor updates. What this is looking at, now that I read it, and now that we're talking about it, I think the council had been worried about us taking that on last year when it was on there. They said, we don't want you to mess with the cap. And not precisely those words, but I think, again, as Angela was saying, if we add this on as a work plan item, then it's a big lift. It will require, I mean, the way it's written, right? So it will require detailed analysis of where we are, and it will require potentially, if we're taking on, and maybe that's something we choose to do. Since, like I said, we're running out of time for keeping it realistic. So that would then be a much bigger item. And definitely it would be something that would take at least a year to do. So we have to decide what.
Yeah, But I think the way and vision we can do it is that there are some area, if we can really do something, or update it with the information that we have or whatever we think can be done by the city, by the commission. Another, clearly, we're gonna point out and say, we need new data, we need a new assessment. And this session, well, we cannot do anything unless something must be done. So at the end of the story would be a CAP that is not a review in the area where the commission has the bandwidth to review it. Either that we're gonna point out, this is update, not up to date anymore, but well, that will require, I don't know, study by mind. And so that at least we have a document that is, we know what this part is building, but need to be reviewed.
Yeah.
That is still a good input for the council.
That's,
My perception of this was to try to reflect that beauty as closely as possible, which was the annual recommendation for changes. I'm not thinking of it as a bigger lift, just to try to achieve this as a sort of, as a point of saying, city council, this is, you know, the current commission's view on how things should change. Not that we're actually necessarily going through and making up, I recognize the value of that, that would be great if
yeah,
it could be done, but yeah, the point is to reflect that thing that we haven't been doing, that we know that.
yeah. So that was, I think last year while we were putting together the work plan, we came across a couple of things that are missing from just minor actions. If we don't have something about reducing, I think there was reducing waste or something. There were a few things that were obvious that were missing in there. That was minor, just updates. But I think,
So what is the goal? What is the outcome of that? How does that help us like do the projects in the cap, I guess, my question.
Well, we get a reaction from city council if we agree that there is something that is outdated, so that we would be able to add flexibility. So, for example, the ecosystem component is of the forest is meant to serve the purposes that are in the cap, but that is not laid out in there. So this would be a formal way of bringing up those things that we think are necessary addendums that aren't actually going to be there. So I think it would give us more flexibility than what the current cap allows to have that go in front of council. That's my view of that item. Yeah, I wasn't one to establish this annual recommendations rule, but that's what the book says. So
yeah.
I guess I'm
first of
just
all,
having,
annually-
I think the issue is I don't
Update.
understand the scope of that, number one.
uh,
That's the whole issue. If the scope of it is, hey, a couple people on the commission went through and highlighted where we're behind and some things we might be missing. I mean, what is the council gonna do with that? Right? I mean, so the council's we're gonna present to the council, here's where we are in the cap. And then do they have to vote on it or, I mean, it's a can of worms, I think. But I think we really have to understand I know it says that in the handbook, but I don't understand the scope of that work item. Maybe it's just me,
okay.
it's either a big lift or it's not, or it's a minor lift.
Or you don't have enough data.
We don't have data.
That's,
Well, we can work on getting the data to the things that we want to get the data on, like there's KPIs on all of these action items that we can get, so like, we want to start looking at the data for the heat pumps and it's, how we look at that stuff, that's what I'm saying, I think we're trying to narrow things down so that we can look, like, we can do the project from start to end and actually see like the end. But we can't do that when we're constantly looking at everything. So we can take these projects and look at the KPIs and see how we want to assess that. And I think for this item, we would need to do another GHG inventory for 2024. And I'm already going through the cap and trying to outline like what's doable, what's not doable. So I will continue doing that, and that would be complementary to the way that I thought I was understanding this.
When you say what's doable and what's not doable, like, in terms of getting data or overall?
Just overall, like the reach code, like the building electrification, that's not doable. The complete streets master plan is not in our control. It's that kind of stuff, that high level.
So I'm wondering if we may want to call it something I mean, not call it update. But maybe the goal here is to review where we are. Assess progress.
That's actually how it's
Review
written.
cap. Operating. Review cap.
I think even before we go there, just to kind of sense, okay, these are this goal, what have we done, where are we at? What progress have we made? It will require, I think, would be a good idea to get for assessment for greenhouse gas emissions. I feel like if we say update cap as the focus area. So I don't know, I don't know what discussions, I think they might, get caught up on that and, not understand.
I can change that to the cap review in the
Yeah,
focus area.
have
or
progress
just-
review or something like that, so we, and part of that should be, and that's something that would need budget for example, and then maybe other things, is a detailed greenhouse gas analysis. And maybe there, I'm sure there's other things, but yeah. Sorry, I don't mean to be speaking all over the.
I mean, I guess
This is just
the-
from my experiences last year.
with this one is we've got an expected completion in Q1 2026. We might want to update that.
Yeah, that needs to be changed. I think it would probably be closer to Q3 or Q4.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah,
Probably make it Q4
Yeah,
because they're working business. Always put the last deadline. That's still happening yet.
Okay, so do we, just to keep moving things forward, we're changing this to cap review and we can expand on this as we see fit, but in terms of what we want council to see, is this okay? And I'll change the notes to kind of describe what we're thinking, or we can work on that.
and then I would put it, lower down on the list. I don't know, the last time they had been very clear about wanting us from the other topics. At least, city manager was,
Part of it is this one.
yeah,
So
So-
that was actually a recommendation from the city manager to. move the top.
yeah. Oh, is that right?
Mhm.
Okay. Well, I mean, city,
Cause I think this is something that will help us move forward. with the cap.
okay, so yeah,
Yeah, I think that
maybe
makes sense.
that's fine then.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree, if we're reviewing where we are, and that's really important, I think that, I think it's, yeah. Yeah. We just need to make sure that absolutely thing we're oversighting.
So
Okay.
what is,
The
what is,
next item, do we want to do line by line? So we can ensure everyone's heard and,
I wanted to ask Rashina, did you have another item you felt strongly needed to be added here so that we're not limited to these items?
So. So the couple things that I was researching last year. As kind of a recommendation, so if. Which were, deconstruction versus demolition and community shuttle.
Yeah.
Maybe we put small items that would, take the recommendations and what do we do with it? Or may have maybe formal recommendations to council. As something that we're still touching on it, so if we feel that based on whatever we saw, and I know I didn't present a final report, say on deconstruction. We could add that as an item to follow up proposal to council, and should that be an ordinance that. That, that can be, put together for review. And then for transportation, it would be follow up. Well, I don't know. Formally propose actions for transportation. As opposed, like, maybe it's something that we've already done. For the. It's,
Anything like that, like, so I guess you were a working group of one on each of those items, right?
Yeah.
But so like, can't anything like those topics still get to council if Rashina comes in or whoever comes in with a, okay, here's my hard recommendation on deconstruction, and then we say, yeah, we agree, let's make this an ordinance, and then, or will they say no because it wasn't on the work plan?
We have to, if it's not on the work plan, that was on last year's work plan, so
Okay,
I still need to review it and we still need to, staff needs to comment on it, so it could be on the work plan as like, we're tying that up.
yeah, so you just have a bucket of tie-up loose items or whatever you wanna call it.
There's a lot, yeah, this is not the
There's
only
a
thing,
lot.
there's a lot, that we're looking at that we haven't tied up, which is, I think, also why we wanna narrow down some of these projects.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So we're really looking at like 10 plus projects that are.
Still
that-
open?
Well, as for open, it's the deconstruction, the transportation, speaker series, the rebates.
So, speaker series and rebates,
There.
they were done, you know.
I'm still, like,
Yes,
that's.
you're still
I
working
spent
on
a
it,
lot
but
of
from
time, so,
the commission's work plan,
yeah, I
I feel
think
like we closed it.
we need to start, yes, it's, but it's still something that we're working on, so I think it still needs to be factored in. To how many projects we decide we're working on. Or at least in the timeline, if. You know, say the commission needs, say, Rashina, you need like. A few more months to get what you wanna recommend to. Or your ideas, and we're gonna have a discussion on that, and then I need to look at that, so then it becomes like. Something I'm gonna start working on, and then it comes back, so I think we kind of have to start looking at everything holistically.
Yeah, I agree. So. Yeah, that would be, since you asked, that would be my suggestion to things that, you know. That were on last year's work plan, or if there's something else other people propose, my proposal would be to add. A minor, maybe low priority item to. To complete the study, and if. You know, to complete the study, say on deconstruction, and if. And propose whether or not to move forward with an ordinance. Maybe, you know, just something that's specific.
I think it would just take whatever we have, the last one, and just.
Yeah, so I mean, because the thing was just promote deconstruction rather than demolition. How do we look at ways? Next would be the specific thing that, okay, this is very specific. Based on the foundings, what does it, you know, and then maybe the research. Budget with it, includes finance on.
You want to do the same with the shuttle,
Yeah, the same with the shuttle, just kind of.
which work
Tight.
item is that?
That was transportation, promote walkable. I mean, reduce carbon emissions by reducing single occupancy vehicle travel. So shared mobility and walkable. We had EV charging master plan, which we put on hold. I feel like that could be another small item that we said, okay. Finalized recommendation. But. Those are my suggestions and so.
Yeah, I just, you mentioned, feeling, I mean, limited by. The scope here, so I'm also waiting on some language changes that could free that up, but, you know. I wanna make sure we're touching on what we're passionate about.
From everybody else, Don, maybe I think we.
I mean, I thought.
One proposal is maybe we go through some of the stuff that is here, because then it gives us a bit of sense of like how big the items are.
Right.
And then I'm sympathetic towards.
Yeah, so maybe, Nicole
Yeah,
and
well-
Paul could walk through and.
We can.
Help us understand.
Well, now we get back to the discussion on this first cap item. I need understanding on why we wanna push it to, the deadline to Q4, because I was thinking of it as a much smaller list than I think we're discussing now, so.
But that expectation of the council also.
We could split the difference and put 2.5.
Um,
I mean, it's,
I think
I,
you really need to decide what you want it to be and agree on it, so that
Yeah.
everyone's on the same page.
but I think Q1 is not realistic. I mean, by the time it's approved, we're already in February, so that's 1 month really done by Q1. Which won't happen. So I think we have to be realistic about the dates.
Yeah, so maybe the other way to think about it, and I think we talked about it last year, so I understand. Maybe it's an annual recommendations for adjusting the cap, it's something that we do every year.
Right.
And
That was what I was.
yeah, but maybe that doesn't need to be on the work plan because it's specifically on our roles and responsibilities.
I think the fact that it's not established means it needs to be understood, and if the council doesn't want us to be doing it, then this makes it very clear what that looks like, and then maybe they change the rules and responsibilities if that's necessary. Yeah, I'm envisioning,
You know,
5 to 10 item list.
but, yeah, to me, it's more like what we're suggesting is we're gonna do an annual gut check on the cap.
Yeah,
I don't know how else, if that's a technical term.
Yeah.
But then really this first working group, or whatever we, whoever is determined to work on this, should come up with, okay, here's the annual gut check we're gonna provide. We have no framework right now, so this first
Mhm.
group should provide a framework,
yeah.
populate it, and then that's that's how we do it going forward.
Mhm.
I would not put update the cap in any verbiage, because
Yeah.
that's where I get freaked out, but, because then you need a consultant and everything else. We say just provide a annual rough assessment of the cap, strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities.
Yeah,
And then you assign 2 people to do that every year, they come up with a framework this year, and I think that's it.
yeah.
And that can be done by, I think, Q2 is my,
Yeah.
I think.
And the good thing of,
Status review
Yes.
or progress
yeah,
review, or progress update.
and the good thing about having a template to do that is that we can adjust the template little. After the experience, so, but at least we have a guidance how to do it, that we update as we go, as we learn, but it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, start with something, because here we are, what this does it mean? We really need to nail it down, what does it mean? Yeah, agree,
Q2, 30th of June.
you do,
Yes.
yeah,
In my estimation, that frees it up overall more, if that's not a full year item. With what we have here, so.
Yeah.
I don't think you agreed on it, but I do think we could have the items that, Rashina's mentioning to close those out. I mean, I certainly don't wanna leave those in last year when research has already been done on them and it is progressing.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, I think it'd be helpful to kind of go through this and
Yeah.
decide
Yeah.
how many,
That one.
if we're keeping all of this and
Get a
if
sense
it's
of how it's-
possible to do it all.
yeah,
Get a sense of what each items have to sort of, what the.
And, yeah.
okay, so, can we discuss the first one?
Yeah, I think,
Yes.
we okay on the first one?
Yep, so
Yeah.
that's
Mhm.
yeah, cap
Okay.
status review and in for Q2.
mhm.
Okay.
For the second one,
Yeah.
I mean, my question on this is we have some things in flight
Mhm.
that aren't finished, either. And then there's with the incentives, I think there's the question of the stuff that the council has approved. So what comes after that, I think is still an open question.
What do you,
So-
sorry, what do you mean by what comes after that?
Yeah, so what the council has approved is starting in March, some incentives for Los Altos residents to electrify, but my understanding is that this is only 2026.
Mhm.
And so I think there's kind of a work stream there around, as it's happening, reviewing how it's going, how much uptake there is. whether there are any changes to Silicon Valley Clean Energy, we rely on to deliver it to their program, because their program also doesn't go on forever. And so there's probably a body of work where the commission can also advise staff on, as questions are coming up on this. Or would you see that as not needing a work plan item?
I think that's covered. Well, I mean,
Yeah,
I read these very generally.
Yeah.
And I think it gives us leeway to review what is done in the first quarter, whenever this runs out, and then make suggestions, work with Tanya to figure out the next step. I think that's covered.
Yeah,
I could be
my-
wrong.
well, my point was more, okay, there's that stuff, and then there's the work that we have in progress where we're discussing the city staff, which is not finished. But then after that, we've looked at this now for a few years. And there's been lots of good ideas, some of which we've discarded. So I wonder, beyond that, like focusing on residential buildings, maybe my point is, maybe let's take a crack at commercial buildings or municipal buildings.
that's part of it, is what incentives are we gonna provide next to the community?
Right,
Council expressed commercial buildings, so we need to look at that.
okay.
That's all part of that whole process.
So is your concern that's too much to do?
There's two concerns. One's more procedural. So Tom and I are currently a working pair for this topic. And there are some things that are active in there. So what would be, if we formed a different working pair to look at different things, could they coexist and that still be?
You're asking, are you and I stuck on this for the next year? And that's okay to ask.
I mean, like, how should that work?
No, that is I was gonna ask, like, so is that, so Coleman and I will be on electrification until we knock it out completely?
I need to get clarification on that. I
And then as a working pair, we can still be separate working pair on other topics as well?
Mhm.
Okay.
As long as they don't overlap.
So, I feel like just, again, we already, the working fair, did a great job creating a list of incentives. Why do we need to create another list? Should it not be update the list or review progress? So I feel like what you suggested is valid, is that,
I wouldn't prioritize coming up with yet another list for
right,
residential
so
incentives.
one is to, see how it works, and then second is to add additional things to it. And then make sure that there's a funding request to continue the incentives.
Yeah, I think it's actually, there's
Yeah.
like three things. There's finish the FAR discussion one way or another. And hopefully we
that
can
would
get it.
not be included in that. So this is just for traditional incentives.
And yet, so that was my other question.
No, but
Why
FAR is an
traditional?
incentive.
What is
But
FAR?
they want to specifically.
What is FAR?
focus-
What is it? So do we need to put
this-
FAR in there in order for it to be in the
That-
plan?
That, I don't think we should put that on there now until we figured out the direction on that.
I have one more question.
So that is not, those types of incentives are not considered here. That's why I wrote
But then we
traditional,
should add it.
traditional.
But then we should add it.
electrification.
We should have,
So
because we're spending time on it and we're hoping to get it through. We voted, the commission voted to move forward with it.
I think we need to I think we can continue that discussion, but for this item, it wouldn't be included in this item.
No, but let's put it in.
As,
We're like, we know we're working on it.
yeah, so it'd be one of those, like, how transportation to construction isn't finished, so. I think that's a special case that we need to discuss.
What is FAR?
Oh,
This is this floor area ratio bonus that I referred to in the update. It's a proposal to allow, building owners or residential building owners to benefit from more floor area if they fully electrify. It's,
Yeah.
doesn't
I got it.
exist, it's a,
Yeah, it's a great incentive.
yeah, it's an
Yeah.
I think I understand what you're saying, Tony. So with So we'll have a bucket of items that we're still working on. That we need the council to approve to continue to work on, or we're just gonna work on.
If we're gonna continue working on them this year, then we're gonna add them as like continue from last year's work
Okay.
on, yeah.
Question. Why do we have the word traditional in there?
Because we wanna focus on just traditional
Monitoring.
actions, monetary incentives.
So maybe the word is monetary,
Sure,
because traditional is,
monetary incentives.
okay, and so you're saying that other incentives like speeding up or maybe some other thing, speeding up the approval process for all electric buildings, those things are off the table?
This particular
Specifically?
one is only focusing on monetary incentive. Particular project.
But I wonder. Sorry.
No,
I wonder if, you know, if you find that FAR incentive is something that is difficult, or the planning commission has a lot of reservations, thinking, you know, about is it worth it to talk to, not the planning commission, sorry, the planning staff? Is it worth it to talk to planning staff or continue to talk to planning and or building and see if there's other incentives that?
I
they
think
might
we,
support?
in talking to. Well, I mean, we're kind of getting, but we've talked to staff about speeding things up, about reducing fees, and we've been told no.
Okay, so I've exhausted.
I think we've exhausted, and even FAR, they tried to exhaust. But we're still trying to. keep them moving.
Maybe there's some more pleasant people on the other end. Joke.
So I think we are, based on the feedback we've gotten, we are kind of down to that's clearly the staff. Feedback is let's do monetary incentives. I still think the FAR is an outstanding idea.
It is,
but-
yeah, I think the. We're gonna discuss that, it
Yeah.
can't be a continued.
Yeah.
One, but it's gonna be separate, I think these all need to be separate. Going forward, so that they're individual projects.
Fair enough. I think that's cleaner as well. My point still remains though, I feel like if we're gonna do that. Like, as it relates specifically to residential buildings, what is the work item? It's really.
We
so
need
what
to,
really-
we're
what
gonna go
we're
off of
talking
what
about
council
is
said.
commercial.
And like look at just like monetary incentives that we can provide to the community, like they really like the idea of incentives
Yeah.
and they wanna keep doing it, so. Where can we provide more incentives? We could do that through, I think we talked about that, I don't know if you want to recall, but. Doing a survey to residents saying, what incentives do you want to see? That's the goal of the project.
Okay,
To figure out what incentives we want our land council to approve and provide, hopefully more funding for.
got it. And this is really looking beyond the stuff that they already agreed to, right?
Correct.
And do we need to like put a budget item in there, like for millions?
Millions. That would be great. I think that we don't have that number right now, so
Yeah.
that's the goal, is
To come up with a number.
yeah, to come up with, well, I think they're gonna come up with the number.
Mhm.
I would,
Okay.
based on my discussions with the city manager last year, is that, and with the welcome director, is that it's really important to put in the notes an estimated budget number. If you, and that's what, I mean, the staff can look at it
Yeah, I
and say
think
this
so.
is reasonable or not, but in the notes, you don't have to put it anywhere else, but somewhere, put a budget number if you feel that's something that will require a budget.
And then going to the next one, I feel like there is some overlap between the next one and the one above. because it also talks about financial incentives.
Yeah, so the idea here is that like, if we're focusing on energy conservation, we want to tie it back to the incentives so that we're encouraging residents, if they do energy conservation measures, let's say they do an audit to their house and they discover they need to do X, Y, and Z, that we can tie that to the incentives, and say like, if you do this, then we will give you an incentive to actually act on what the audit says. So that needs to be like refined a little, but that's what the project would be, is like, how can we do that?
I think it's a great thing to do that.
Just, I could list the things from the cap that are mentioned on cap item 2.1B for this energy savings: wall and ceiling insulation, roof replacement, new ducting windows, lighting upgrades, outdoor amenities.
Yeah, I think it'd be to identify, a good approach would be to identify programs that already exist. And then, like Bayron has the programs, and then kind of maybe look at that, so. So is everyone okay with that one?
Yes.
Mhm.
It's not just tabling.
Yeah, I think we should just jump on it.
Yeah, just kind of like, just add an S.
And then after that,
And so I have take table electrification event and other outreach events.
okay.
Those are a bit of change.
Okay, this next one, Tom, you had a note, just changing advisor support, something like doing a threat work
Yeah,
on that.
that's what research and recommendations.
Yeah, which,
So we're already working on it, and we already have next steps, that we're working on, so.
Which one?
oh, we're on urban forest ecosystem health, I mean, yeah, there's research that has been done, more research that will be done, moves forward, so,
We're
yeah.
essentially gonna come up with like, and also a menu of like, things that we want to see to work on,
Can we add public outreach as a thing within the green community? Whether it's its own thing?
Many of the possible projects would be a form of outreach. So there's that separately. I mean, if I'm one individual, yeah, I can do outreach as possible, but I don't know if it.
So maybe we can talk about that when we talk about. So I would like to join up
Uh-huh,
as a working group with,
right,
so maybe it's 2 individuals.
yeah,
That's, I mean, as a commission, there'd been an idea of, having, Live Green there as, you know, an additional thing, in addition to the electric
mhm,
fair things, you know, could we? And it's not necessarily as part of the urban forest. An ecosystem project that has, a line item to promote green or sustainable food. Kind of thing, so.
yeah.
could
I
that
hear
be-
you, I don't know if we have the capacity with the plan.
And
as
it
it
wouldn't
is.
be something maybe like the city runs, again, it would be see if we can partner with other organizations to. Or maybe the item is to study or review or discuss with other public organizations, other local organizations, if we can partner on outreach. Outreach or education.
Right, I mean,
so we
Just a
can
suggestion.
we can take the public engagement at events out of building electrification and make it its own thing so that it can fulfill whatever topic, I think, we.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
That's
But
yeah.
because I support Rashina, the idea that we can definitely try to involve more organization in achieve whatever we want to achieve in that area, and I think that we need to do that.
Absolutely.
And so, yes, and it's not only building and beautification, it will be more than that, yeah. Just moving the line down and down is full of.
And it's one of our, our duties, said duties to.
Yeah.
Be a forum for public health.
Yeah.
So I like that.
Yeah.
We keep it on. as a separate thing.
And you support in school, that's really nice.
And then, I think, then could we move to the last item? Which is research and call for recommendations or provide our advisory support staff on our future.
I like the idea of, as the speaker suggested, to expand it to synthetic surfaces,
Mhm. I also agree.
which is kind of a little sideways of, okay, maybe you look at.
Yeah, but it's big leverage if we work on one, there's leverage to work on the other one. It makes sense.
A lot of things are
Yeah,
kind
they're-
of
they're
similar.
saying,
to
like-
the
Is the Sunnyvale, study only on turf or is it on some synthetic surfaces?
Good question. Can find out. I'm assuming. Sure. Okay.
I don't want to go for the side that I was circling with the speakers that reduce flood risk seems a strange place to park that.
Yeah,
6.1C is part of that, but it's, and it's impermeable surfaces. Where I think that actual artificial turf is permeable and is more permeable than grass, but I think it's because 6.1C is under flood risk.
Yeah.
Because there's no artificial turf listed in the cap.
No, I know, I'm just thinking about like how it came about and the nature of the public outreach on this is normal. I just don't think it's related to reducing flood risk.
It's more false.
Exactly.
So I think the thing is our goal, we're supposed to be working on cap. If there's an item that comes in that doesn't fit directly in the cap, like
Like this.
that the bird safety ordinance was, then we see where it can best fit and maybe there's a better place to fit it.
I don't think it has to fit in the cap, so I can move,
I would just retitle
I
it.
just
Yeah.
imagine like
Yeah.
with the public looking at this.
I would call it synthetic surface review. Something like that.
And
so the goal is public health.
Oh,
yeah,
Yeah.
The goal would be public health.
it's, well, you could say call it public environmental health.
What do you wanna say?
Well, I think the synthetic surfaces, most of them don't permit percolation. And even turfs, they pave before they put the turf down, so it sort of fits in the flood risk issue because it increases runoff.
Yeah, I think this is the difficulty is there's multiple dimensions to why someone can be opposed to synthetic
But
services. The
I-
question is, what do
It's
we?
strange, there's a lot of other things as well, but.
Yeah.
I believe also the way we communicate, this is also communication stuff. I think people, public will understand better activities about the health and environment than reduce crop risk. So that's, I mean, Don, you maybe technically, you may be right. But from a communication perspective,
It's probably both, but yeah, you have to put a goal.
It is, yes, we have to put a goal.
but it doesn't.
Not
have to be-
really
you
have to
to
weight
be
it
capped.
on. It's just,
You can put public and environmental health.
yeah,
yeah, okay,
is that what we wanna do?
I agree on that.
Yeah, I think that would be, makes sense.
More understandable. isn't it?
It's more understandable, yes.
And then I think the associated question is, do we want to do anything on flood risk that's not related to artificial turf or synthetic surfaces?
That would be an additional project.
So
But that also could come up.
Permeable surfaces.
Yeah, I like the idea because I'm very keen on that, but I don't know if we have the bandwidth to do something more this year on that. I think that probably, I would like next year to do something like that.
It is a possible benefit to keep in mind for the projects that we discussed that are before the use of develop as well. That, because that is something that could address that concern.
Yeah.
In some degree.
Yes.
Is there, could we do an and? As in reduce flood risk and prevent, cause one of the things with artificial turf is that the microplastics get into the water.
Yeah.
So, and prevent pollution or of the creeks or something like that. So that
I'm
covers
hearing
that.
more, that sounds like more justification for just creating this as public environmental health to me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
yeah.
I'm just-
No, I'm fine with what with Martin.
Do public environmental health splash.
No, I
And
Go ahead.
related,
hmm.
I think the, you know, the environmental health is probably the broad terminology.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it covers a lot of things.
I think we're,
Okay,
I will say that highlights
The
the
project itself is to look at, so the council advised us to look at artificial turf.
will they?
Do we push back and say synthetic surfaces?
And that could be a quick discussion,
Yeah.
because I think I would put in some, if they come back and say, no, just artificial turf, that's
Yeah.
their prerogative, so I would put synthetic surface, because as you were saying, there's a lot of leverage there.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
Mhm.
A lot of concern are actually the same, so I don't know what a lot of study are
cover
saying, so.
concrete.
I think the end goal is gonna be a policy recommendation to council.
Yeah,
I mean, do we maybe want to make a note of, does it make sense to make a note of that at this level, like what we expect the outcomes to be?
Yeah, we
In the
can,
notes.
we can write that.
Because I think
I-
that council has a pretty clear vision of more.
Mhm.
And I think Tom's comments also important, not that I would change anything here, but if the Sunnyvale guidance very narrowly looks at artificial turf, then you probably need to consider how that fits in, if the council accepts a more general formulation. So,
One other comment,
Yeah.
that's sharing, is that feel free to put more details in the notes. Is
Mhm.
what they had said last year. So, if that guidance has changed,
No, yeah, we can, we got a lot of good notes today.
I thought there was some guidance that we wanted to, have less notes, but maybe not.
I think in the note section is fine.
Okay.
To add whatever we want them
Mhm.
to
Okay.
have more context to.
so, yeah.
is there no expected completion date on any of the others, apart from the two that we flagged? Also thinking about the artificial turf or synthetic surface guidance. And so we put TBD when we're not able to, because it kind of feels like when we're just not able to stay with all these things,
Yeah,
when we're gonna complete it, it doesn't look great.
yeah, I think.
I'm just curious about this Sunnyvale, it came from the staff, from the council, that we need to look at the Sunnyvale guidance, that I agree that basically looking at the other city guidance is a great way to proceed, but where the idea of specifically saying delivery of Sunnyvale guidance came from? Who was-
That was staff's recommendation
okay.
to council of how
So what
we're
the staff?
how we're approach this.
So that one's maybe okay because it depends on
Yeah.
Sunnyvale guidance.
But maybe for electrification, we do Q2 on the top and
Yeah.
Q3 on the next one.
Mhm. Yeah, that's good.
And then I think for the public engagements, I'm just gonna write continuous.
Ongoing, yeah.
Yeah.
And for workforce consistent health. What do you?
That's a 4-year project, right?
We need to, we should have it done before. End of the fiscal year in the summer,
So Q2.
Okay.
Okay.
we can aim for, yeah,
You do?
ASAP, I think is the goal.
And it's something we don't have much.
Me too.
in
So is
Q4.
there, can we talk about what the status is for the RFP?
We're refining the goals of the project, so we need to go back and do that.
So the RFP will go out? Or is it already out and people have applied?
No, the RFP is not out, So we need to determine, more, what we need to refine the goals.
There
and-
were goals for analysis, and now it's goals for potential actual projects.
So the goals for analysis is what we need to spend by the end of this fiscal year. But if we're asking for additional funds for the actual project,
My understanding is that it's pivoted to what the projects would be.
Yeah, so we're coming up with like actionable projects that we can do, that we're like, we're just adding into the RFP and then we're gonna release the RFP, but we're still working all that out.
okay, so the RFP is not just analysis, it would be
No,
the rest of the work,
yeah.
build the project,
Mm,
okay. But the amount, the money that we have to spend by the end of this fiscal year is,
I think it can be rolled over if we need it to be, but I've been working on this for a long time and the goal is kind of just to push it forward. So I think that's why we're saying Q2.
just looking at, what we put in last year's master plan in terms of so this was supposed to be phase 2 that we had asked for money for. And then there was additional money that would be needed for,
So we got the 200K.
yeah, which was canopy analysis and green spaces inventory.
We're going back and refining that so that we can do more actionable items. That was the direction that we're
But
going.
would that
So we're gonna
allow us to ask for more funds beyond, from the next year's budget? Or are we expected to, just use the funds that were assigned, were requested for a specific thing and then expand the goal but keep the funds the same?
I think we're expected to use the 200K in an actionable way.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah,
So whatever we
Uh-huh.
come up with and determine, whether we wanna ask for funds or not, I think that's hard to determine right now. But that's always in the commission's purview to ask for more funds, but we're not doing it as outlined, but phase 1 and phase 2.
so it's, I'm just trying to understand, so the 250 was for last year's work plan, 2025 work plan. For the 2026 work plan, we should be, I mean, if there's additional things that need to happen to continue the work, that will require more funds, should we not be asking for them at this point in time? Because they will have their budget review, and whenever they have May, June, and they will assign additional funds for the next year.
So we don't have that information right now, so we can't do that. That's the thing, is we don't have, if we need more funds right now. But if we were to need more funds we're gonna go to council, we're gonna take the recommendation to council for this plan. And then it can be decided from council then, and if they need to do like a budget adjustment or something like that, then they would figure it out.
No, I still feel that, I mean, you've done some research based on what the Mountain Views, plan and how much that cost.
Yeah.
And even though we're doing the scale back, we're not doing
Right.
as much as they did. Can we realistically, achieve what we're hoping to achieve with that same fund, without asking for additional?
Well, it's now a
And
very
ask,
different.
and they may say, no, we're not giving you funds, but if we don't ask for it, chances are we will not get it.
The way I see it is, we have a budget that will be going to a project goal that is determined, and if there are other project goals that we share that are also of interest, then we ask for budget for those. That's how I see it quickly going.
But the specific project goal that we had the budget for was the analysis,
Yeah,
which, I mean, if we're doing a detailed canopy analysis and other things, just given. Given, when we were originally looking at what things would cost, it would cost that much at least. So if there's work to put. I don't know what the project means, but if it's. So I don't understand what the, just saying that this is a project, I don't understand what is the deliverable of the project.
yeah, that's what we have to, we'll have
So-
to come back next month to discuss what those would look like, but the point is that it would not be just a matter of research, it would be a
Right,
matter of, yeah.
Yeah.
something-
One way to handle it is put in the notes, like, might require a budget, I mean, I have no idea what magnitude you're talking about. But
Yeah,
I would certainly put a note that you might need a budget of something, in there. I mean, if you know there's a good chance you're gonna need more money, I would note it somewhere.
Right.
Something like, potential additional future work.
So this is just for my understanding, does include the permeable or impermeable surface reduction or not, it's just, or it's not really?
it certainly could, that was certain, land use was certainly a high consideration for what the analysis was going to look at.
Okay.
So, I think that is certainly in the spirit, of this item still.
Yeah, that's what I thought, I didn't know if it was the case.
So, yeah, I think the original goal was to look at everything and do a really big plan.
Mhm.
What we wanna do now is to, like, look, like, do we wanna focus on street trees? Do we wanna focus on private trees? Do we wanna focus on, what is it that we wanna focus on? What is the outcome we want? I don't think they wanna just do a plan and just look at everything and just have this plan that we might not be able to do that plan on. So instead of doing a big plan, it's like, do we wanna focus on planting trees? If so, we need the data to tell us where we can do that. So that's what we're gonna identify. And, do we wanna focus on, a tree manual, like a tree replacement manual for city trees? Do we wanna do educational, educational manuals for residents for private trees? So we wanna like scale it down, so that we know what we're focusing on.
Mhm.
Instead of it just being a plan that says do
so
X, Y, and Z.
this is. I have concerns about. This is something that's coming. Information that's coming. Outside of what. We got approval from council to work on. Last year.
No.
So,
We're
let me
going
finish
to,
that.
yeah, we're gonna go to
So-
council and provide them these options so that they can give us more direction on that item.
But I think that together with the option, I think we need to give them the impact. I mean, some of those options have more impact than others.
Sure. we can do
And
that.
so we need to, they said that the option of that could be, impact could be visual, it could be temperature, it could be clean air, it could be whatever. It will be fire resistance, you name it. So we need to kind of match with this idea, so that people, the council can decide on something
Yeah,
here.
definitely.
But the,
Okay, that's the approach, yeah.
the analysis will be less robust than was originally proposed here,
Okay,
because
but, yeah,
the idea was that an analysis would help determine what those things that are most impactful, most cost effective, and
Yeah.
we're sort of gonna have to make a little bit more educated guesses.
yeah, but there's not a thing, you start with a big idea and then you do the feasibility, that's normal, you start with the, then little by little,
Yeah.
you do what
Yeah,
is
no,
feasible.
I-
No, I agree.
I have, I think this is a serious, in my mind, procedural question / if our understanding from council was something that this is what the funds are for and what we can do with them, and that has somehow changed between the last environmental commission meeting and this meeting. I want to understand how that can happen without it being a public thing.
It-
Was it something that was discussed by
Well,
council?
this is not, this is not the topic that we're discussing today, that would, it's gonna come back to the commission, as Carl said earlier. So this is, we're technically supposed to be just talking about the work plan itself, but
Right,
that's gonna come back to the commission. It will come back to the commission. We are refining, we're, the working group, which is what the commission approved Carl and Jacqueline to do, is advise staff on this. So Carl is aware, we've been working on this. So we are going to come back to the commission and provide these updates before we go to council for them to provide their the direction that they want to go with on that. So we're all on the same page.
oh,
Because when we take these work plans to council, we're not going in detail in them, like, you know, things can change, things have changed, so that's why we're reassessing and we're going that route.
okay, I'm still not convinced I understand how this item became limited the way it is. And seems in my mind that the project has become limited in the way it is without any change in guidance from council.
That's where we're gonna go to council to
Right, but if
To
we
ask
put this
them
here,
what they.
we're assuming we know what council is saying. And if we assume that we have to work with the funds that were allotted for the last year's work plan through the end of the project, then we're assuming something that council is not necessarily, at least my, as far as I'm aware, told us. So if my understanding is the way we're doing this, we're assuming that this is going to be a much smaller project than what we had proposed to council last year in our master plan, in our board plan. And I don't understand how we've come to this conclusion without having any kind of public discussion.
I mean, I agree with you, but it's a matter of, it seems like we would be going to council and saying, we were budgeted for this amount, city staff has determined that we need to be more actionable, however we want to phrase it.
Right,
but-
so there's actions that would go against, you know, if we want to, you know, that, okay, this analysis, canopy analysis would cost this much money, that's not necessarily our job to do. Right, and that's what, if we had a consultant on board, they could do and tell us.
Yeah.
They could have, you know, I just don't understand how we're assuming that all this will get done in these funds without, you know, either we lay it out and say, okay, specifically, this is what will cost what. And yes, we
Sure.
can do this much in this amount of funds without asking for more funds.
Right.
But without that information, which is something that would come from the consultant, how can we just ballpark say, oh, you know, make actionable things that can be done within these funds, and that's the end of it? Because this is not
So I think there's some
a 6-month project.
confusion, and I think that this is not what this topic is about, so I think we need to move forward, but we're still refining that, and that's gonna come back to the commission.
But if it's not in the
So-
work plan,
We, whether that's gonna be us continuing to go out to RFP through the assessment, and then we provide in the RFP what we want the consultant to do. Out of the options, that might be that. So I don't feel comfortable to continue talking about this, and we're still refining the goal.
Yeah, I guess I have a question. So say, the working group of one now, Carl presents like, hey, we're gonna revise our original project and take it down. But the 6 of us or 5 of us say, no, we want the original we prefer the original, that was our guidance from the council, was the original goal, so we don't wanna revise this town, we wanna stick with the original big plan.
If it gets to that, I think we can explore that option if that's the route the commission wants to go.
I don't know what is the original big plan, so personally. it's like-
Yeah, so I
The
don't really
original
want to make
plan
it-
is
Yeah,
to
it's,
do an assessment and then make a master plan.
Cause I think what Rashina is saying is we had a master plan, a big plan, for lack of a better term, big plan, and now it's being scoped back, but there wasn't any discussion, it was just scoped back.
Yeah, and I think so, we got given 200K to do that, which I don't think is enough to do the entire plan. I think the scope of what we wanna do, there's an example, like Mountain View is doing something similar, and their project costs over $1 million.
But-
So I
but-
think I think it's, like I said, it's less thinking, and I think it's more doing. I think this is actually good in the sense of like, we wanna do actual projects where we're focusing on certain things instead of just creating a plan that might not and have resources and staff to be able to do it.
So if I well understood, at the beginning, the idea was the deliverable was a plan. And now the delivery is not only the plan, but also actually do something.
It was
That's
a
correct.
phased process and we got approved as a lump sum of money for phase 1, which was just an assessment.
Okay.
Right.
And you believe, okay, and you believe that with just an assessment, if we want to be effective, we need to nail down the objectives so that the assessment is being something that can be
Yes.
then actionable. That's
Yes.
what we. So,
And then we provide those options to council, and council can give us more direction on what they want to see.
It's realistic that we could preempt that conversation, say, this is what the amount was originally budgeted for. And then, so they could elect to say, go ahead with what the original plan is, right? I mean, theoretically,
I mean, we're
Yeah.
gonna provide background and.
Yeah.
They should certainly provide the context,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
remind them,
and we-
yeah,
I think that's important.
okay. Are we good with this?
One last
Okay.
thing, sorry. We want to make notes about potential budget asks in the notes. I'm not saying we should put a number next to them. but
Yeah.
For example, provide the electrification through financial incentives, and it's pretty clear that's,
yeah, we need money.
there's gonna be money for that. I don't know if we can ballpark it, I trust Carl to make, and Tony to make the right one.
And probably the same for encouraging an energy conservation measure, if you want to go the same route of
Essentially.
monitoring.
I'll go through and figure it out.
Just double it.
Uh-huh.
Always double it.
$1 million.
Everyone feel good, closing this item? Closing it, okay. I'm gonna close it.
So, before we close it,
Do we
Yeah, okay.
do, names? Are we signing people for that?
That's the next item.
that's the next item,
Oh.
but before we close it, we're making these edits to these current projects, and we're adding the 2025 projects that aren't finished as well.
Yeah. Bar, deconstruction, transportation.
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
Okay.
And do we need to vote on trusting Carl to take our suggestions, work with you and finesse the work plan to bring to council?
We already voted on that last time.
Okay.
That's that's how we've been operating off of. If you want to do it again, we can, but, sorry.
I think the fourth one, and that's the current incentives. That are implemented, because in this incentives, electrical incentives is looking forward, you already have one in play that is not quite finished.
Oh, yeah, I mean, well, I have a whole list of projects that aren't finished, so I'm trying to figure out how to.
Well, you were saying the items on the to be completed from last year's.
I think the work from the commission, I think that's like, Commissioner Heck was saying earlier, like, that is in this item as just by proxy, as we're gonna kind of look at that. I don't think it needs to be on there, whether or not we want to add all of our projects on there, like combining them is a different kind of conversation.
I'll let you
but-
figure out which one you do, it, just be consistent, not be consistent, but make sure that things are covered.
Mhm.
Okay. Closing that item. Next up is establishing ad hoc subcommittees.
There's no can do.
We can discuss, get an idea of who wants to do what. So that we're ahead of the game. But,
So Colm and I are on electrification by default, and we're a working group, so we can also participate in other things, just to understand the ground rules, right?
I need to get clarification on that, cause I didn't hear that directly, that wasn't what
That's not your understanding?
Yeah, so the concern is that if two other people work on electrification,
Yeah,
then it's, we
It's
know what Coleman and Tom,
Yeah,
you know.
no, I was more worried
supposedly
about, well,
Support, then it's like, we have their ideas and we're adding two more people to it.
well, I don't think we would, well, yeah.
So that's what I'm
I'll
saying.
decide if we can add people, but I'm just
We
wondering
know.
if, I'm just wondering if I can work on something else, or
I,
if I'm stuck with Colm for the rest of
I think that my understanding is that we don't have any ad hoc subcommittees, and we're not gonna form them.
yeah,
Yeah,
So we just have working pairs, and as long as we're working pairs, we don't get crosswise with, we're okay, so
you think it's okay?
I don't see any reason why you can't work on something else that strikes your fancy.
that's my understanding, but yeah, I can get confirmation, but we can operate on that.
We'll
on
operate
that
on that assumption.
assumption, yeah.
I mean, if we want to form ad hoc subcommittees for whatever, detailed reasons, then we could make it 2-person.
And I can theoretically talk about or before stuff with another, one commissioner now,
Yep.
if something, yeah.
I'm not sure what it means, is
Yeah.
that we discussed
Yeah.
the subject before.
So, do we wanna go line by line? Do you wanna? Okay. So review the cap.
You're looking for volunteers?
I'm wondering on that item based on sort of the categories that we're already working on, if we think we could divvy that up. Just based on that, and so, I mean, everyone is free to look at whatever else other recommendations they have, but if we wanted to focus, that would be one way of having everybody pitching, but not having to assign a subcommittee for this. All right.
I think we could benefit from having
Yeah.
two people to
I was
discuss.
gonna say, otherwise. we won't get time.
Okay.
If we're doing it here. You know how that goes.
I'm happy to be in that one.
Yeah.
But if someone wants to do it, it should be with someone else also.
Looking at the cap,
Yeah,
well, Rashina and I were involved in development of the cap way back when, so I can step forward to assist in looking at that in a general nature.
okay.
How much you think I should-
Yeah, that one's complicated. I think that's Tom and myself. Unless someone else has a real urge to work on this.
I'm concerned that we would get crosswise with.
Yeah, I think we decided, that I think it makes sense for you and I to do and run it to the ground. One way or another.
The question is, do we couple these two together or?
We have been,
That,
And
so
there-
that's your call, Tanya, I think,
I think energy conservation can be something different.
you think so?
Yeah,
Okay,
well,
that's-
it's, because it's not electrification.
Yeah,
Everything else.
We're just tying it back to incentives, so we would have to, at the commission meeting, then come together on that. Once the recommendation, once we have more information,
I think it's more practical
It would
to
be
put
like-
time together.
yeah, meeting, I guess that
Well,
commission.
it saves people too.
Yeah.
And it, yeah,
I'm
I
just
think,
trying to do the right thing for the sound.
All right, that's the spirit. Okay.
right, so I think we'll just keep it as to. For the whole list.
I will put, all for. For public engagement events,
Mhm.
so. Urban forest.
That's also.
It makes perfect sense. My only question then is what we're doing with, the synthetic turf piece. Just looking.
I
Could be
think,
any other,
That could
any
be
two people.
two people, three.
and I don't think we can decide this now since it's all TBD.
Right.
Yeah. I have a question about the assignments in TBD. And for the others, the.
That may
city
be
staff
that
information.
because the cap is Q2, we can then start that one towards the end of Q2.
Is it TBD because we think we can't assign it right now?
The completion date?
That's fine.
Maybe assignment,
Oh, yeah, I was just giving us more flexibility to decide that later when we have, more definitive work.
But doesn't it make sense as, I mean, we know, someone's gonna have to look at. Turf or permeable surfaces, whatever we wanna call it, but, we could just assign, people could volunteer now and start the upfront research, waiting for the sun to go. I don't know.
I would do that.
But I think we're gonna be starting all these things
Later.
as soon as,
Oh, as soon as we can.
right?
Yeah.
Like all
right,
the work is gonna start.
we can start now, is that?
Yes, well, I would throw
I
names
meant
on.
like, once we get it approved. I think we had it staggered last year where we were starting something,
Well, because, yeah, we didn't have people, but we were. I think it was because of subcommittees, which didn't matter in the end.
yeah.
I don't know. I can also do that. Someone is helping me on this. I can.
I'm interested in
Are you interested?
that one too. Yeah.
My only, but the only thing is you have to be careful not to overlap anything. urban
Yeah,
forest.
that's part of why I was asking that, because,
There's another lab here.
Well, you would just have to keep it separate.
yeah, which depending on the project, if the project is the output, then that's where that could. I think it's very easily avoidable, the overlap between these two, but it's just that on a surface level, unintended, you could certainly argue that there's overlap.
So we have two volunteers.
Maybe it makes,
Anyone
well,
else interested? I mean, cause then we might need to, but,
what's that?
cause, I mean, I think we're thinking working pair, but we have two volunteers, but I'm wondering if anyone else is interested.
It could be individual work as well.
Well, if Carl's comfortable that he can keep them separate. I would say make it a working pair.
And,
From
But-
my experience last year, it's really helpful to have somebody else without.
Yeah,
Yes.
Mm.
It's really hard to
Yeah,
do it by
yeah.
yourself.
Also myself, I need to learn, so I
Yeah.
prefer to have someone already being alone.
Sure.
That's time, it's gonna be. Okay.
Alright. So I will update this, we will update this and then, send it to everyone once it's updated.
And that February 10th is a hard date, that's for sure. Okay.
Would we be adding those names of those working pairs to the assignment portion, or are we good to keep it vague on here?
I would double check the other work plans.
Okay.
In the past we have.
Yeah.
It's recorded, but this is the actual. Or I guess, yeah, in the assignment, it could be who won, to put it in.
Okay. Commissioners' reports?
Who's
I-
supposed
yeah.
to?
I don't recall the assignment.
Any updates you want to share with the commission? No, okay.
Do we need to, that includes reports from city council meetings
Yeah,
that people may have attended.
yeah.
If there's, it just, yeah, anything.
Did anyone attend the last city council meeting?
The last one was the rebates. And then yesterday, I think they met for an hour.
Yesterday was, I was there last night, but it's just reorganization. Our new
Yeah.
mayor is Sally Meadows.
Hmm.
And our new vice mayor is Leah Lay.
And they said no longer on the commission.
And
Yeah.
he's moved because I think in a couple of days she takes on her role, or a few days. Maybe she has a week off, I can't remember. The end of the month. But maybe she swears in on the 26th. Something like that.
Is there gonna be a special election for that?
There was.
No,
No,
for
the
the,
council member.
Oh, for the
the
council.
council, yeah.
I think it's to be determined. The council has certain options that I think will become public discussion on what they'll do. And I think it also plays into, they're going to by district elections, so there's a lot of moving parts, I think, as to what they're gonna do.
They will be direction, May.
The next, maybe November elections, we have to do by district. November district, so there's a lot of moving parts if they assign them what they're gonna.
You have a list up of who's
I'm
assigned for the next.
speculating.
Sorry,
Do you have that list pulled up by chance of who's to attend the next?
I didn't update it for 2026.
Oh, okay. I'm not imagining.
Is that an alphabetical system? didn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, it was on.
So if I were understood, one of us will always attend.
You can whatever
Exactly,
one,
exactly.
just basically report
Yeah,
to the
makes sense.
next commission that
Makes sense.
it's available.
And
online.
just things that relate to the environment. You don't have to cover everything, even though it's definitely possible to relate everything.
No, that's,
Just-
yeah.
doesn't have to-
so the last, Dawn, you were the last one to attend on December 2nd.
December 2nd, there wasn't a meeting, so I was excused,
So,
but I,
but having just.
but I did
yesterday-
report on last night.
Yeah, so, the next one was TBD because we didn't have somebody, and then starting from the top, it was Commissioner Nee.
Maybe
I feel like it's always.
She's been moving. This TPD though is Angela, right? Now that we have them.
We start with the first name, fine.
I don't think we did it
He sounds
alphabetical.
pretty early.
I thought we did it, I thought we tried to make it easy and just do it alphabetically.
Something.
We
Maybe
tried
we
to,
decided that after.
yeah,
It's a new year, we could. Do you wanna start
otherwise we have to spend time,
alphabetically
yeah.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Sounds good, yeah.
by first name?
Yep.
That's fine.
My first, oh, geez. I guess they.
That puts me way.
Strategy.
I'll go with you.
Is that okay?
That's okay.
It's every second Tuesday.
Yeah.
or the second Tuesday and fourth Tuesday of the month.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So this is gonna be the first Tuesday, the Tuesday.
Depends on
Yeah.
how-
So the next one is, the 27th.
27.
What's the one after that?
February 10th.
Will be
Mm.
for the first part.
Sorry?
No, just,
Oh,
we'll be
yes,
in the
yeah.
building, yeah.
Yes, we will.
So we could just stay for the rest of it, but hey, it would be assigned to me anyway, so
It'll be
if I
you. You
stay,
can
then
make that decision.
we're off.
And then February 24th.
January
that's
27. Huh?
The
Cool.
home, yeah, never seen, right, I don't know alphabet.
So what would that be? March,
So we're at 10, 24, I can update this list and send it out, but March 10th.
Okay, yeah, we can do that another time. Any other reports from commissioners? No, staff updates?
Nothing, no updates on the other position, that I've received yet, and yeah, well, I'm in the city manager's office now. And my direct supervisor is Anthony Parseka. That's it.
The buried in that update is that Nick is no longer, that's like, that hadn't
I
happened
think
yet,
it's no
right?
longer what?
I didn't give that update.
I don't think-
Well, we never,
Did I give that up?
I thought he was on leave of absence or something.
Mhm.
Oh, okay, yeah, Nick is no longer with the city.
Mhm.
Sorry. She's. Yeah, so Nick is no longer with the city, sustainability is now in the city manager's office. I am, my supervisor is now in Nicholas' office.
And Anthony is
He is the assistant to the city manager.
Okay.
Yeah, so not the assistant city manager, assistant to the city.
Is this an office reference?
No, it's his title.
Okay.
So is there any development director?
Yes, Stephanie Williams is now the director of development services. And there's no public works director, but Victor Chen, the city engineer, runs that side of things with the city, those engineers. I don't know if that's gonna change, but that's what it is right now.
You can go to the city site, I can find all chart for the city, or not, it's public.
Good question. I don't think there's a public org chart, but there is a staff directory.
I never tried it, just wondering, because I would like to learn a little more about how.
To make a dynamic one.
And then everyone.
Day, yeah.
Yeah, but at least we have a starting point.
Yeah, there is a director. I can. Yeah, there is a staff directory that
Okay,
has
perfect.
all the information.
Okay,
All the like. Categories.
Okay.
moving to potential featured agenda items then? Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Okay, I still do want to have a native grass speaker, I didn't have any leads last time when I spoke that, I have leads now, so it's just a matter of getting somebody to agree, to come speak, so I'm certainly hopeful that we can have that next meeting. Still. I guess the question is for this, cap review. We want to decide, is there a potential feature agenda in there for next month, or? We would push it off another month. Because then we start discussing it more.
Wouldn't that be under the working power thing?
Sorry, what was the?
Oh, just talking about the cap review is just
Wow.
trying to make sure, if we're wanting to get ahead of that for the next meeting or not, so I'm just asking the question, should that be an item?
well, don't we cover it under? I guess,
I think that's now like a project, if I'm understanding you.
So,
Yeah,
The
yeah.
working pair.
Doesn't hurt to put it on a
First.
future agenda item.
I just mean, yeah, do we want it as a discussion item, like, is
in the next meeting,
in the next meeting? I'm just asking the question,
So-
obviously, it's.
we should
we
have
haven't
the
really had a
working,
chance to
we
talk
should
about
have the working
If we
pair.
are ready to do anything in couple of 4 weeks,
it. Yeah,
to report and have a discussion,
So-
with some preliminary idea.
We
If
could
it-
give some, we could give some sort of update. But
Okay.
I'll have where we stand, but
Yeah.
I think you're gonna have to do it because I'm not gonna be here.
Fine.
I have another meeting, so.
okay.
So,
I may
sorry,
be,
if I could jump in real quick, going forward, if things are gonna be a discussion item.
Yeah.
They need to. They need to come to me and then we need to talk about, I need to understand what the item is gonna be and what we're gonna present about. So
if it's just a status update. you
then it
still
would
need-
be in the commissioners' reports.
Right, then it's gonna be.
Okay,
You're saying that we should get to a discussion.
Well, I'm raising the question just in terms of the timeline that we have.
That is great. Yeah.
Is there a discussion that
Yeah,
we can have
maybe-
next time, just to get the ball rolling?
Maybe a
further?
framework outline or something like that, I don't know, that we can have a discussion on instead of just an update, is that something like that? That's a lot.
I know it's a
that
big
is
ask to try to determine that right now, but
Well, we can, try, whatever, would be this, we
I think
can
we could
discuss
put
that.
it, we could put it on a future agenda item and then me and.
yeah,
The working pair can decide when. is
Okay.
the
that way at least there's a
Okay.
flexibility. Yeah.
Okay,
Any
And what
other-
are we calling this project? Review,
Cap review.
cap review,
stop the video.
Annual.
cap review.
You may come up with a different title. Because I don't wanna be.
Okay,
No, cap review is a big deal, but I mean, we want to the framework,
Maybe we may come up with something a little bit different because a review may be implied to something too specific.
yeah, when we have the framework that we're gonna use, then the title will be clear. Or more, not clear, would be clearer than, yes.
So if the working pair feels whatever they feel,
Yeah.
at the point of feeling that an assessment, a greenhouse gas assessment should be done.
okay,
Is
we
that
can't
something-
discuss, this is just.
No, I'm
It's just
asking
for-
it what, yeah, no, my question would be, is that something that should be judged by them? Whether or not we do greenhouse gas assessment. You can wait till.
Yeah, I think, yeah, let's like get our bearings and then.
You're wearing updates.
Uh,
Some of your trainings.
Question on rainwater harvesting real quick is, do we wanna keep that on the, list? I know that was something Commissioner Arundel had suggested.
Was that meant to be a presentation?
Yeah, it's a special presentation.
From someone's.
Do we have the contact? Yeah.
We can ask, her. I think it doesn't hurt to keep it on there. Not for next, but as a.
Yeah, do you
future.
want, does the commission want to keep that as a potential future agenda item as a special presentation from Valley Water? For rainwater harvesting?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
okay.
Anything else? I mean, I guess the question is, whether we would have a discussion to have for, particular items. I mean, I certainly think that could be a discussion, in terms of just like, at least first ideas for what that is, if the analysis is not the,
So,
or the weakness.
an agenda item for next, for February, we debrief on the council. meeting.
Uh-huh.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And there may, well, there won't be time to do that, but there may be edits slash suggestions slash guidance that they give.
Yeah, and I think that can be under that. I don't think.
And that was specifically the recourse uses one, or you're just,
Sorry,
No,
that, the
okay.
one I suggested was we do this every year is where we debrief,
yeah,
have a discussion to debrief on, what the council said, so that we
Right,
should
right.
talk about it.
separate from that, then, I think there's a very real possibility that we try to have a discussion about what some of these potential projects that fall under the recourse system plan are, just to get that ball rolling as well. And that would be an action packed agenda. If all of those things came to fruition.
Don, you said you will not be at the next meeting.
There's a possibility that I could be remote, but I'm traveling.
So I may not be also, so I mean, yeah, to be there for.
Pressure's on.
We have to be present.
So don't get sick.
Okay, any more potential future agenda items? Potentially the cap review, but for sure, February is debrief on the council meeting. Potentially discussion on urban forest, but that's just generally on there, and then for sure native grasses in February.
Assuming I get somebody to,
Okay.
agree to do it. I need that confirmation.
So Rosina, will there be an update on transportation? Oh, yeah, we do.
Possibly.
Okay.
Okay. Close
Sounds good.
meeting adjourned.
Yeah.
Okay.
Meeting adjourned.
Okay.
All right.